Hello, and welcome back to Fili Daily Vlogs. I'm Gus.
I'm Tim.
I'm Amber.
Together we make Fili Creative, a audiovisual company based here in central Kansas. Thank you so much for tuning in to our daily vlog. As usual, we will start with a quick overview of the latest in the coronavirus pandemic. On the global scale, we have 1.9 million cases, which thankfully I believe is about the same number we had yesterday.
Good.
I'm sure it's gone up again, or maybe not, but I know that 1.9 million was what I read on here yesterday, so I'm excited about that.
Good.
The number of deaths is 126,213.
I feel like that's
that
probably going
curve's
to
looking
continue
flat.
to go up until we see
Yeah, it
no
will.
new cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a while. I agree.
Yep.
In the U.S., we're up to 606,800 cases with about 26,000 deaths.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I thought maybe today I would just really quickly hit on the big cities in the U.S. that are showing a lot of the pandemic or a lot of the virus. New York, obviously, is number one.
Of course.
New Jersey, number two. And Massachusetts, number three, I believe. Massachusetts, Boston, really has about 28,000 cases.
Wow.
Then Chicago has, around 16,000 cases, something like that. Detroit is another big one.
How's Texas looking?
Texas is actually looking pretty good. Houston has about 3,900 cases and 52 deaths. Dallas has about 1,800 cases. So there are definitely outbreaks there, but not as bad as Chicago, Detroit,
That's good.
or kind of the tri-state area there, plus Massachusetts.
The only reason I'm asking is because I saw the Texas was going to try to open their state again, like in the next couple days.
Wow.
So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We'll see
Bad
how that goes
move.
for them.
Right. We'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah. Really quickly jumping into Kansas. Yesterday there was this big spike in cases, both locally and statewide.
Yep.
We had 3 additional cases reported in Salina.
Yeah.
One of which was at our pizza factory, the Tony's
Lovely.
Pizza.
I heard about that one.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they said there was another corporation here in town that had a confirmed case, but they weren't going to release the name yet.
Yeah, Hannah was. For some reason, we thought that might mean that was Tony's, but we weren't sure if that was a different
Nope,
place.
there's another company apparently.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Which I don't know why they wouldn't just release the name of the place immediately, so the people that work there could know.
Yeah.
But
It's probably
I guess-
more in the sake of... I'm guessing the people who were there probably already know. It's probably more of a PR thing.
right, trying to prevent panic.
Uh-huh.
PR seems to be, I don't know.
That seems to be like the least of our worries at the moment. Like
Yeah.
people's
Right, but it's
lives
all-
are at stake, but like that's
Exactly,
all
and I
people
think-
care about right now. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump in the last 24 hours, he's done 2 things to make me angry at him. Obviously the first, or maybe it was the second, I'm not sure the order, but he declared that he was going to cease funding to the WHO.
Oh my
claiming
gosh,
that
I know.
They failed to stop the spread of this virus when they repeatedly, and I mean with all the force of their might, tried to tell everybody this was coming, and nobody paid any attention to them. So I think that was a big mistake. And then on the what was the other thing? He's been telling the governors that it's their responsibility to close down
Yeah, I
their
saw
state.
that.
And now he's saying that he has the sole responsibility to tell them when they can open up. So he
Right.
wants all of the credit, none of the blame.
Yep. I saw he
that's not good
also
leadership.
I saw he also called out the media in his last meeting that he had. He like played clips back apparently telling them
Yeah.
how the media had lied about coronavirus and all this stuff, and like how he was the one that was fixing it all, but he had to fight against the media. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
This is a bit of a stretch, but in my opinion, quite frankly, and I don't care if you're a conservative and you watch this and you support him, why are you Just why are you?
Why?
But quite honestly, Donald Trump is more of a threat and a virus to this nation than almost coronavirus is. He's causing so much more damage. He's with his actions, he's causing the future deaths and spread of this. So,
I think it's making people feel too comfortable. Like I had a kind of a revelation the other day when I was making masks, because as much as like people are like, yeah, making masks is great, I had a few people reach out to me and be like, well, what you're doing is worthless, because it's not going to stop all of the disease from going through the mask. And I'm like, look, it's not about like stopping all of it. It's one, doing what you can. It's preventing you from spreading it, but also it creates a psychological distance. Like, you're not going to walk up on somebody and get right in somebody's face if they're wearing a mask. So, like, if you put a mask on, people are more likely to follow social distancing practices than if you're just walking around looking completely normal. Because if you look normal and they look normal, it's going to lull them into a false sense of security, and they're just going to do whatever they want. So it's always better to just be proactive than to be falsely secure.
well, especially it's just better in the sense that I had mentioned, I think it was on one of my posts, when I had like gone out for that long walk last week with like using the neck gaiter for like the first time, and there was, I think, a couple folks that had said like it's saying, like, I think there was one person who had said that it makes no difference, so you shouldn't even bother trying and don't even waste the energy.
Right.
But a couple others had said good, because it's more it's really more for everyone else's protection.
Right, and
than
it's
yours.
better than nothing. Even if it stops, 0.01%, at least that's 0.01% you're not exposed to. So,
I think the truth matters, whether or not people are willing to admit what's true and what's not.
yes.
And I think taking care of each other matters. Regardless of what the people at the top are talking about. I think social distancing will last as long as it needs to, at least in our household.
Right.
For our own sake and for the sake of those we love, and I think it's as simple as that. It's not something we're doing to screw the economy or to screw with Trump. It's something we're doing to help
Stay
the
safe.
people who need it.
Right.
And I really, I think
I know so many immunocompromised people. Like, I wouldn't want to put them at danger trying to visit them or hang out with them or, go out in public and bring them stuff. Like, no.
Right, exactly. I mean, at this point, like, the only ones the most I've seen anybody in person since we started social distancing was the one time I walked past Devin's house, and even then, like, he was on his porch and I was I was several feet away on the sidewalk, so we were never super close. And then Gus and I were both in the office the other day because he was grabbing equipment and I had to go upload all that stuff. So
Gotcha. Makes sense.
That's the most I've been.
Yeah, me too.
In quote contact with another human being since all this began. So.
Oh Lord. Vroom.
Somebody, vroom vroom.
Somebody's practicing their social distancing on their motorcycle.
It happened last night about 1 a.m.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy
fun.
around my neighborhood. People are getting restless, and you can feel it. People drive by the house at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like playing really, really loud music. So like it's like vibrating the whole house and the windows.
Yeah.
I'm just like, people, please.
And so
I
that's
understand
why
you've been trapped indoors for weeks now, but you should probably do that during the daytime and not at 3 in the morning while I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah. But that's why I try to go for walks. Although this week I haven't, simply because I'm trying to heal up from that 5-mile walk earned me a blister or two. So, and I continued to walk on that for like a week. So.
Oh.
If I find it somewhere in a box, we have some stuff we used on our 30-mile hike in New Zealand, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically like raw like wool fiber,
Oh, nice.
and when you have a blister, you basically just put this in your sock, between your sock and your foot, in that spot, and it just kind of moves with your blister, and it just protects it and keeps it from hurting, and it's
That
remarkable
is
stuff.
amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
How come I
Yeah.
didn't know this existed? Is this like strictly a New Zealand thing, or?
I have no idea. All I know is that they sold it to us for like $5, and it was a great
What?
investment. 'Cause it saved me from getting. They before you get a blister, you get what's called a hot spot,
Yeah.
which is basically like a red.
Yeah,
like,
you can
starting
feel
to
it where it
swell area.
rubs. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you can put this stuff on hot spots and prevent them from becoming blisters.
Oh,
You can put on blisters
snap.
to prevent them from being irritated. So anyway, interesting.
I had not known
I
about
have-
that because that like
That's crazy.
the worst part is like it was my toe. It was on like the edge of my toe,
Oh,
like
yeah,
between
those
the
are the
two.
worst. Yep.
So like it's just
So it just constantly rubs.
No
it
fun.
did like I've managed like it's there's no longer an actual blister there anymore.
Ugh.
It's still
Mhm.
healing the skin underneath. So,
Mm.
but it's just like I went for like a solid week of still like going for like a daily walk of like 30 minutes, and it didn't help it. I should have. I was gonna try and use like I had bought some of those toe socks to see if maybe that would help
Ah.
because it separates your toes like
Yep.
your fingers.
Mhm.
I don't know if perhaps like the ones that I bought maybe weren't. They were more of a pain to put on. Maybe it's just the shape of my toes because mine, most of mine kind of curled down,
Mm.
and so I don't know. They just have that look to them. But it was a pain to put on. But maybe it was just like the wrong size because I think the ones that I found were like 7 to 11, and I wear like a 12. I wear like a size 12 shoe, so technically those socks fit, but like it felt like I was trying to get them as much into the crooks of between my toes as possible, and it started to feel like it was cutting off my pinky toe. So,
No
like,
fun.
So
You
like
don't need-
I just
Well,
didn't-
would you rather have a blister or lose your pinky toe? It's an
You're
easy
right.
choice.
Yeah, obviously. You know what you need? You need those like toe shoes.
I've seen those like
I've seen
there's like
those.
adventure
Yeah.
racing
Vibrams or
ones,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually considering getting one of those just because like I like going for walks, but I just like I bought these walking shoes specifically with the purpose of going for walking more and stuff because
Gotcha.
I needed a bit of different shoes, but
Mhm.
I'm considering that for like long hikes, doing something like that just so that I don't have to worry about it because like for a half hour or an hour walk, generally I don't ever get blisters, but that 5 mile walk that I went on, that was probably a couple of hours, like 2.5 or something, by the time I got done.
I know those. If the only brand I've ever seen of those like single toe shoes are I can't remember if they're Vibrams. I know their soles are Vibrams. The only problem with those is that they're really meant for rock climbing, so
Yeah.
they're flat footed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
There's
if
no
you
arch
walk on
support.
concrete, you're gonna screw your feet up pretty bad.
Yep.
Mhm.
Unless you already have
but-
flat feet, and then
Yeah, and then you'll probably still screw.
Right.
Like, that's where I'm at. I have like literally 5 different issues with my feet right now, and the worst one is that I'm extremely flat-footed, and I need to go into the foot doctor and get some arches.
yeah.
So, yeah. The other one is that my toes. I have 2 toes that overlap on one toe on each foot that overlaps
Oh,
another toe.
jeez.
And I had a friend who almost like lost the ability to walk temporarily because their toes were doing that,
That's
and it just
crazy.
screwed their feet up so bad. So
That's crazy.
Wow.
yeah, my feet are really gross. Hannah would tell you that. I have very gross feet. So,
So you're saying like they're overlapping like
Interesting.
this?
Interesting topic today,
Bas-
guys.
basically, so if my foot, if this is my foot,
Uh huh.
this is my big toe. Basically, I have to think. Yeah, basically my second or my third toe overlaps my second toe on both feet. So it's just like this kind
Huh.
of, and it's just the ends of the toe. It's not like the this part.
Yeah.
So
They
yeah.
make little like toe spacers. They look like little
Yeah, I might have
silicone donuts that you like slip over your toe that keep them from doing that.
that may be
And
in
you
my
can,
future.
yep, and you just wear them 24 hours a day until it like corrects it.
Weird. I
That
had
sounds
no idea.
probably like something I may end up doing.
Yeah.
So I have a question prompt for you all.
Okay. Does it have to
this
do with
is
toes?
not- no, thankfully.
I was gonna say if we're keeping on the foot theme, man, Quentin Tarantino would be all over this.
So I have this ongoing theory or just thought that comes to me.
Okay.
And like I'm not a big conspiracy theorist.
Yet.
Do we need to pull
but-
out our tin hats for this question?
But I do believe that governments keep secrets from people. And they do it for good reasons. They do it to protect us. They do it
Okay.
to but
Within
you know, so
reason,
that-
yeah.
there's probably a list of things that are secret that would blow our minds,
Sure.
you know, throughout the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what the scale of the biggest secret kept from us is. I wonder what, you know, I wonder if is it an alien? Probably not. Is it time travel?
No.
Most likely not. Is it, you know, what is the biggest thing that we don't know about?
You know what?
That
I bet it
would
honestly
blow our
is,
minds.
as unfortunate as it sounds, it probably has one, something to do with the military. Probably two, has something to do with prisoners of war and where we're keeping them or who they are and like all that other fun stuff.
I could see
Yeah,
that. I could see
would
that.
believe that.
Yep, because
would
we've
believe
we've
that.
already had scandals around that, and I can't imagine that like the torture thing. Like our military doesn't torture people. That's a big honkin' lie if I've ever heard one. Like,
Like the waterboarding
So-
and stuff.
I mean, it's probably something along those lines.
I would believe that as much as I would love to believe that it's something like aliens because
That's a little more lighthearted than hiding
It
and
is.
covering up murders of people, you know.
yeah, that definitely is. Although I will say, like, if there's anything, I don't know, I would prefer it like that. I'm not saying that I believe aliens exist, but I refuse to believe that we are the only thing in existence in this universe.
Right.
With as vast and as many galaxies and planets are out there,
I'm sure
there has to be something else.
I'm sure there's like government program secrets like NASA. I'm sure NASA hasn't like released all of their information because they don't want the private sector to just like 100% outdo them. But
There's a bunch of flights historically that NASA has flown, and others as well, that were government contracts.
Really?
Where like you can look up some of the shuttle missions, and there's, you know, data on all of them. But then you'll come to these ones.
yeah.
That I'm pulling from nothing. I don't know what it is, but you know, STS 71 or whatever, and it'll just be like a government mission of some kind.
Yeah.
You know, it won't specify at all, but
Yep.
it had something to do with launching a spy satellite
Yep.
or
Yep.
servicing one, or you know, something like that.
A few years ago, Debate had like the debate topic of like going to outer space, and they had very, very basic evidence of the United States trying to weaponize outer space. So they were like sending lasers to space and like testing them to see if they could blow stuff up, and it was just insane. Like, I know the government's doing some fishy stuff in space.
When you're trying to take out a satellite, the best way to do it is basically with a bag full of marbles.
Right.
I was gonna say you had to
Punch a
get
bunch
it
of
off
holes in it and just let it fall back to Earth.
Yeah, you just, I mean, and you don't even have to do that much. You just put them in the right orbit and the right speed.
Yep.
I was gonna say, yeah, as long as they can knock the satellite out of orbit, then
Yeah, and they, I mean, they don't even have to knock it out of orbit. They just have
Disable
to
it.
deal it enough damage. You know, I mean, you could just put a few holes in its
Solar panels and stuff.
solar panel, and that'll kill it too. Yeah, I was just. Give me 1 second here.
tune in next week as we attempt to do that.
So, if the government's watching, we're not actually making a threat against your satellites. We promise we won't actually blow them out of the sky.
Wink.
So here's just on the space shuttle. So I'm a space nerd, so we've opened up another kind of like trains for me, but very deep as well. So
Speaking of trains, real quick before you go into that, did you see what I posted the other day or what I shared?
I'm not
Was
sure.
it about
Remind me.
trains?
It was, but it was someone had made this little thing saying like, mighty Cthulhu rises from the depths, takes out his like smallest tentacle or whatever, grips you and brings you towards his face, and then whispers at you, "It's pronounced Chuchulu, because I like trains."
I do
Oh
remember that.
my god.
So there were like 130 space shuttle missions.
Yeah.
And of those, the following missions were classified: STS-4, 51, 51. There's two 51s. 62, 27, 28, 33, 36, 38, 39, 53. So there's like 10 or
Wow.
12
Yeah.
that
Out
were
of like
classified.
the 30.
Right. Or at 130. So yeah, but it's just interesting that there's some secrets kept.
That makes sense.
Especially on NASA's stuff, often uses a lot of civilian contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And so keeping things secret on that scale is pretty hard because there's tens of thousands of people involved in every one of those missions.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a reason the Air Force has its own, well, it used to have its own space program
Right.
because they had to keep some things secret. So, okay, sorry, I'll get off of my.
You're good.
my
You're not boring
space
me. I'm
story.
just tired.
By the way, we recently had the 50th anniversary of Apollo 13.
Yeah.
I was
This
just
week.
about to say that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've watched that, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a great movie and even just a more amazing story in general. And if you live in Kansas, you have a very unique opportunity. The Apollo 13 command module actually is in the Cosmosphere in Hutchinson.
Yeah.
They've had it there for a number of years, and it's the only capsule from that mission that survives. Obviously, the lunar lander that was on that mission was basically crashed back into the moon after they were done using it to get themselves around the moon. So,
Right.
yeah, it's pretty cool. The Cosmosphere is going to have the surviving astronauts from that mission and like a whole bunch of the crew behind the scenes that worked on that mission come for a fundraiser at the Cosmosphere. And that was supposed to be this month. And it was like, I want to say 15 or 20 people involved in that mission,
Wow.
including two of the astronauts.
Oh, that's cool.
The Cosmosphere routinely hosts truly amazing events like
Yeah,
this.
that's crazy. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
I've been
And
there
some-
once, like long, like 6th grade, I think.
Right. The Girl
Yeah.
Scouts had like an overnight program there, and I went and stayed overnight in the Cosmosphere, and we did all of like the stuff that they have in the back, like they have like
Yeah.
a little centripetal force machine and like
Oh,
all
wow.
kinds of all kinds of cool stuff, and we went and played with all of it and built robots and
Yeah.
all kinds of cool
That's
stuff.
dope.
I
Yeah.
went to space camp there for 4 years.
Wow, cool.
5 years. And really, that was the highlight of my summer every summer. I just totally
Absolutely.
loved that stuff.
Was it like
And they
was it like a day camp, or did you stay the night, or?
Yeah, we were there. I think the first one was 5 days, and then by the end of it, it's more like 6 or 7.
Wow,
the
that's cool.
The first 2 years was in Hutchinson, and then we went to Johnson Space Center in Texas
Oh,
and
that's
Kennedy
so
Space Center
neat.
in
That's
Florida.
cool.
And so in Kennedy Space Center, we got as close as at least they told us, we got as close as we could get as a member of the public to Launch Complex 39A,
Wow.
which is just under a mile away. Which
Yeah.
It was really cool. There was one of our counselors was from Brazil,
Oh, neat.
and because she was from Brazil, she wasn't allowed inside that complex.
Oh,
So that was kind of cool. They like kicked her off the
that's
bus.
weird.
Yeah, it was like, no, you're not a citizen of the United States. So sorry, bye.
Oh my gosh.
That's weird.
But there's they've
Well,
I had the opportunity through that program to meet several astronauts. I met Scott Carpenter and Steve
That's
Hawley.
neat.
Steve Hawley I've met several times. He's our astronaut here from Salina.
Mhm.
He was married to Sally Ride, the first woman astronaut from the
Yeah.
United States. And he's actually some friends from our church. They live in the house he grew up in.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
so
kinda
cool.
Yeah. And he flew he flew 4 missions with the space shuttle.
Yep.
And there's some crazy stories he tells. One of his missions was probably the most risky mission that they knew the risks going into it.
Right.
And that was the servicing of the Hubble Space Telescope.
Right.
When it first launched, it had some really big issues, and so they basically did this kind of all out mission where they went way further away from the Earth than they'd ever taken the shuttle before.
That's crazy.
And they captured it and they fixed it and they released it. And obviously, since then, the Hubble Space Telescope has been one of the most important pieces of scientific equipment that the race has ever had. So.
Okay, don't go anywhere. I have something that's very relevant.
Oh, cool! Let's see it. Or hear it.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so when I was in third grade, we got to write letters to astronauts, and they,
nice.
yeah, some of them, like, they responded and sent, like, signed letters and pictures of themselves. But I was the only one in my class that got a mission patch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
cool.
yeah. Pretty neat.
That's very cool.
Just 115. Wow. So they must have done something with solar panels for the International Space Station, I would bet.
I would guess so, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, there's a rich history in those patches.
Yeah.
The design, there's a lot to it, and it means a lot within the culture of NASA.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
that's really, really cool.
But
Nice.
yep, I was one of the only ones that got one, so it was pretty neat.
That's cool.
Tim, earlier you were saying something about how you think that there's life in the universe.
Well, I just feel like I just feel like there has to be. There's.
Yeah.
It is inconceivable to me that we are the only.
It's very hard to believe.
There
has to be something out there.
And I don't know enough to be dangerous here, but there is a theorem of some kind that I've read about a lot that basically says, like mathematically, the chances of there being other beings in the universe are infinitesimally great. Like it just has to be. The problem is that there's really no evidence to support that claim.
Right.
And so there's kind of this discrepancy between there should be but there isn't. And yeah, it's a very interesting thought. As a Christian, or a person who claims to be a Christian, there's a lot of Christians who think that the Earth is the center of the universe and that this is the only place where there's life. And I personally take great issue with that because I think
statistically there has to be something else. There are how many trillions of galaxies and planets.
Yeah, there's
And
the universe is
it's
13.7 billion years old, and there are billions of galaxies and probably trillions of stars, and yeah, there just seems like there are really great chances that there is other life, and I think it's just short-sighted and
it's hubris
egocentric.
to think that we're the only thing out there.
And I think that it's limiting to God's creation, if you will, to say that this is as best as it is in everything. It's like, no, this is as good as it gets
For us.
And I just don't buy that. There's a lot of amazing things out there in the universe that we have no idea about. So
Oh, definitely. And I don't know if maybe perhaps my thought on, like, I grew up I know you did too. Like, we both grew up watching Star Trek, so
oh yeah,
that is very much in that show that the whole goal really is to seek out other life and other civilizations, and if possible, interact with them and learn about them and that kind of stuff. And so maybe that just gives me kind of a false hope that one day there is something else out there. But just statistically, there absolutely has to be, like, the conditions that for us to exist here, at least within our own galaxy, are, as far as we know, the only planet here that can support life in the way that we know life. But there has to be other planets out there that have that capability.
Chances are so great. Like Alpha Centauri, the closest star to us, they recently said that they think there's a pretty good chance it has a planet capable of supporting life.
Yep.
So if the closest star to us has the chance, I mean, goodness.
Right.
Seems likely.
So I looked up what the mission was for the mission patch I got.
Let's hear it.
So they delivered and installed the P3 and P4 truss structures on the International Space Station. They completed 3 spacewalks to put the trusses into service. They connected power to it and activated the gear readying it, and unfurled their solar arrays for power generation. So it was adding solar power to the International Space Station.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Goodness. There's something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was that important. But yeah. Well, We've kind of taken things kind of philosophical there for a little bit, but thank you so much for tuning in again to the daily vlog. If you have something you'd like us to discuss on air, or if you'd like to join us for an episode, we would love to have you. It's been last week we had Grant Dorsey join us. We'd love to have some more people on the show with us, just because it's always interesting to have somebody else's perspective. So if you're interested, let us know either on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching this. So thank you again for tuning in. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe below. And if you want to be notified every time we post a new episode, go ahead and hit that notification bell. So for all of us here at Fili Creative, thank you very much for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.
See ya.